Lately, I've been reading a lot from Herodotus' monumental work, Histories, and while going through it, I came across his fascinating stories of India, and thought I'd share some of them with you today. Now, it should be noted that Herodotus never went to India. In fact, everything he heard and learned about the lands encompassing the Indus River and beyond were relayed to him by others. While it is possible that some Greeks from the pre-classical period, such as traders, may have heard tales about the Indian subcontinent from their counterparts in the Levant and Babylonia, this can't be proven with the few sources that we have. Thus, Herodotus' Histories contains the earliest preserved account of India from antiquity and the only information that the Greeks of the late 5th, early 4th centuries would have had about that country and its people until the arrival of Alexander III of Macedon, better known as Alexander the Great, about a century later. It turns out that there was one Greek speaker who may have had first-hand knowledge of the Indian subcontinent a few decades before Herodotus, a certain Carian Greek named Scylax of Caryanda, who explored the Indus region on behalf of the Achaemenid Persian king, Darius I. According to Herodotus, Darius sent a group of explorers, led by Scylax, to find the mouth of the Indus River. They're said to have explored the river and finally reached the sea, in this case, the Arabian Sea, after which they then turned to the west. In the words of Herodotus, Darius, desiring to know where this Indus empties into the sea, sent ships manned by Scylax, a man of Caryanda, and others whose word he trusted. These set out from the city of Caspatirosa and the Patyikan country and sailed down the river toward the east and the sunrise until they came to the sea. And voyaging over the sea westward, they came in the 30th month. After this circumnavigation, Darius subjugated the Indians and made use of this sea. Thus it was discovered that Asia, except the parts toward the rising sun, was in other respects like Libya. Assuming that such a trip did indeed occur, this passage has puzzled scholars for several reasons. One is that there's no reference to a city called Caspatirosa or a country called Patyikan in any known text, so we don't know from exactly where the voyage may have started. Adding to the puzzle is that Herodotus clearly states that Scylax sailed east. However, the Indus flows southwest towards the Arabian Sea. It's possible that Scylax sailed east along one of the Indus's western tributaries, such as the Kabul River, before actually reaching the waters of the Indus itself. Scylax is also known to have written a memoir of his travels called Periplus, meaning circumnavigation. Though the original text is lost to us today, we know that it once existed due to it being mentioned in the works of later historians and geographers such as Strabo. But, just like that of Herodotus, these accounts lack any concrete details. The Indian subcontinent is today known for its great diversity. It's an area of the world full of different peoples with various lifestyles, who speak a plethora of languages, practice different religions, eat all types of food, and much more. According to Herodotus, the India of his day was pretty much the same. He tells us, "There are many nations in India, and they do not all speak the same language. Some of them are nomads, others are not." It was not India's diversity that made it valuable to Darius and the Persians, but its gold. The lands of the Indus River and beyond were apparently full of it. However, the way that it was acquired was quite different than in other places, as Herodotus explains. There are other Indians who live around the borders of the city of Caspatiros and the territory of Pat-Yike, beyond the other Indians and toward the north. Their manner of life closely resembles that of the Bactrians. These are the most warlike of the Indians, and they are also the ones who go out to gather the gold, traveling to a region that is uninhabitable due to the sand. Now in this desert of sand live huge ants, smaller than dogs, but larger than foxes. Some of these ants were captured and brought to the Persian court. The ants in India make their dwellings underground by mounding up the sand, just as ants do in Hellas. And they also look very much the same. But here, the mounded sand contains gold, so the Indians set out to collect this sand. To his credit, Herodotus makes it known that he's highly skeptical of this story. Some today, though, believe that there may have been some truth to it, though the creatures in question may not have been gold-digging ants, but the Himalayan marmot of Kashmir. Parts of the area which it inhabits may have had significant amounts of gold dust in the soil during Herodotus's day, which would have been dug up as the marmots burrowed into the earth. That's one explanation. Along with gold, Herodotus also describes what we now know to have been cotton. In addition, gold is present in immense quantities, some of it mined, some washed down by the river, and some plundered from ants, as I have related. Moreover, there are trees in India which grow wild and produce crops of wool which surpass sheep's wool in beauty. Indians actually wear clothing made from wool harvested from these trees. That's just a little bit about what Herodotus had to say with regard to India. Of course, Alexander's arrival and exploration of some of these same regions confirmed or rejected many of Herodotus's claims, and opened up India to the influences of Hellenism, something that I hope to cover in the future.